Good morning, grand rising, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are. There's just been something that has been on my heart and on my mind, more so on my heart, and so I'm going to try and express it here because I believe it's a really important message to share, and it's on the spirit of generosity. Since humans were alive, we lived in family units, small or relatively larger family units. And some call it a tribe. You could call it a family unit. I'm only familiar with native teachings from various cultures, but since time began with humans living in family units, the measurement of what would signify a thriving tribe would be the well-being of the whole. It wasn't the well-being of the one or the individual. And so generosity and sharing were integral parts of maintaining the well-being of the whole. Now, somewhere along the way, we have, as a collective, I say we because I am still believing we're one people, lost our way. And you can see now in the world things like excessive hoarding amongst those who have a lot, and a real need amongst those who have less. And I've just been contemplating this morning on the spirit of generosity, and I've witnessed in this culture there's this idea of, okay, I'm only going to give to you if I know I can get from you. And the spirit of generosity is lost in this idea, because what I understand to be true about generosity is what I get from giving is the spirit of life renewed within me. When I give to my brother or my sister or a child or whomever that is in need, because I have something to give and they have a need, what I am given, 1 second. What I am given is the gift of that person's need being fulfilled. It's like a spirit gift. It comes back to me. Like they talk about karma. There's this talk about karma. I believe karma to be the feelings we feel in relationship to how we're acting. So if we're acting like a wild beast in a negative sense without care for our brother and our sister, then we feel less good about ourselves. I mean, I do. And when we give to those in need, we get the gift in return of the feeling of well-being that we just gave to our brother and our sister. The earth, our mother in this body, gives unconditionally. The waters flow. The cosmic mother, the sun, the moon, they keep orbiting. We keep orbiting. It gives unconditionally. I believe that where we all need to go is to return to this place of understanding the value of generosity and recognizing that the biggest gift that we can get is knowing that we're being a blessing to life. Life is precious. It's a precious gift. You think about children, like the earth giving to us as her children and we giving to children. It's not about what we get. It's about knowing that we're nourishing future generations and that we're giving to the well-being of our children's children. Native peoples, they knew this, they practiced this, they considered the effects of their actions upon the future generations. And there's a part of me that felt silly in saying this, not because I think it's silly, but because I feel like this is just common sense. But it seems that we're in a world where people have become estranged from their common sense, from common consideration. And I just see it in the world where it's like, I'm only going to give if I know I can get. And there's a native teaching that talks about storage and how in not too distant past we wouldn't store or hoard excess. There's a quote that says we would store the excess in the belly of our brother, or in the belly of, I could say, a sister. But metaphorically speaking, it's saying that there was no excess for the person. We would store the excess in the belly of our brother or our sister. And I really, really pray that we return to a way in which we recognize the value of supporting and nourishing the ones that we love over this idea of me, mine, where am I going to get mine, and how can I hoard more for myself for the future. I mean, when we look at the billionaires and we see the way they're being is not a way that we would want to see on the world, we have to look at the microcosm in ourselves of where we're being like that. Even if we don't have millions, the native peoples, they didn't have millions either, but they still shared. They shared their excess in the belly of their brother. They didn't hoard. Because if we're connected to the providence of life, we recognize that there's cycles, there's renewal, and when we give, we're receiving. It's not so finite. We're not in a finite universe. We're in an infinite universe. And the more that we trust and exemplify these qualities of infinite love and trust and generosity, the more we're going to see that rippled out in our life. And I feel like, to be generous amidst this time where it feels like I'm witnessing a lot of people in great change, where they're losing their jobs or loved ones, and a lot of shift is happening. And so it might require even more trust in this time to be generous and to give instead of hoard or feel like there's a need to self-protect. But that trust it's its own gift. The feeling of trust is its own gift. The feeling of the ability to let go of something that's precious to you without knowing where more is going to come from. That trust, that feeling of trust in and of itself is a gift. And these are the gifts of spirit. These are the gifts of the earth. These are the gifts of life that if we choose to embrace and exemplify and repeat in our own lives, we will be a blessing to ourselves, be a blessing to others. And that's my musings today on the spirit of generosity. When we're acting from that spirit of generosity, we're modeling and mimicking the spirit of life. For life gives. And it trusts that things fall away, but it's not sitting there hoarding on to the love, hoarding on to the sentiment, hoarding on to the resource. It's letting it flow.